I have a 30-second video, and I told her about it already. It's just for impeachment, if and just to get the court proper, because it would show my client in a swimsuit in the VIP section dancing. That's all it would show with her witness, and I'm just giving. That's all it shows, and I would add that in my case in chief if need be. If the court, if anybody disputes it, then I'll show the court. I don't know how to operate.
Okay, well,
It's so small, we can just watch it, but.
okay. And you're saying, you said it'll be just for impeachment if needed.
I'm gonna ask the proof of it, just to make an opening statement, let's make a brief opening statement, that's all.
Okay. All right, well, anything further before we begin?
Yeah, Judge, one other thing, the people didn't show a video that was, given to the city council itself, I'm asking if
I have no problem with the judge.
All right,
thanks, Judge. First.
okay, then, Ms. Cross, you may be seated, and the people may make their opening.
Thank you, Your Honor. So, Your Honor, this case happened, this incident happened back in September 19, 2021. The complainant witness, Mr. Kari Wright, was in attendance at a club society in the city of Church in the county of Wayne when she came into contact with the defendant, defendant number 2, Indian Cross, and another individual at this club, Your Honor. There was a verbal altercation between Jakari Wright, the complainant witness, and another individual who was at the club. A physical altercation ensued, and that's when defendant number 2, Indian Cross, jumped into the physical altercation, tackling Ms. Wright to the ground and hitting her. So, Judge, the court would hear testimony from the complainant witness, and it's important for the court to pay attention to the testimony of the complainant witness, that she will testify to what happened that day, as she is the people's own witness in this case. She will explain to the court what happened, where she was, and how this event transpired, Your Honor. I'm asking the court to please pay attention carefully to the complainant witness's testimony, and after hearing this testimony, I'm going to court return to get to verdict in count 1. Assault and battery. On behalf of the
Yes, briefly, Your Honor. What the proof will show is this. There was a party at a club held by Mr. Tyreek Derrickson. Tyreek Derrickson was the ex-boyfriend of the victim. He invited my client and her friend to do a swimsuit shoot. You will see the defendant is in a bikini swimsuit at the club doing a swimsuit shoot. She came in appearing, had been drinking, maybe somewhat drunk, came up to the witness in the hallway, Ms. Harris, asking her what she doing with her man, et cetera, and start punching on Ms. Harris in the VIP section. When she started punching on Ms. Harris, my client ran up and pushed her away from hitting on Ms. Harris, and they did start fighting. Security told these 2 young ladies, we saw what happened, have a seat, and took the victim and made her leave and escort out the club. The next day, girls being girls, the other girl posted saying, why she make us have to fight her? And being stupid like them girls be stupid, talking about the fight on the video. When she heard about the fight on the video, the very next day, then she went to the police station. She didn't go to the police station on the day that it happened. She went the next day, and then she started posting sex tapes of the witness because her boyfriend was sleeping with the young lady in the hallway. And then she started making phony Facebook pages trying to get her to lose her job. That just shows the motive and the reach of this particular victim, what she'll do, because Ms. Harris started sleeping with her ex-boyfriend. And that's what it's all about. It's a self-defense claim.
All right, people may call their first one. You may.
And we might need to put it up because I might be seeking charges because it's a crime to post sex tapes.
You say we need to show no sex tape on here. You said we need to put it up. Let's come on. Let's go. I don't know what Mr. Usher. I don't know what Mr. Usher. You know me, I'll be all right.
I'm glad I'm thinking about that.
There's some bacon and. Okay.
Walk to the ham shack.
Oh, yeah.
I just had a little small hamburger.
Yeah, that's it. For real, right? We don't put no cheese on it, did we? So I'm gonna be ready. Got my pan.
You know what? You know what? I say crap.
All right.
All right, Steve, you may call it first, please. Thank you, Your Honor. At this time, the people like to call Ja'Carri Wright to the stand.
Okay.
Right here on that, these outside. So y'all mind. Okay, separate them. Ma'am, I need you to stop and give your name to the court. All right, now step towards me and raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so we got?
Yes.
All right, please be seated in your response. Ms. Ritter.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Ms. Wright. Yeah. Now, Ms. Wright, you have a soft, low voice. There's a microphone right in front of you where you put adjust it, put up and down into the. I need you to speak directly to the mic so that the court can hear you and the court report can hear you. Take record, okay?
Okay,
Thank you, that's better. Ms. Wright, may you state your full name for the record?
Ja'Carri, right?
Okay. And Ja'Carri Wright, I'm sorry, Ms. Wright, I want to take you back to September 19th, 2021. You recall that day?
Yes,
Where were you on that day?
SSI nightclub.
Okay. And is that in the city of Detroit?
Yes,
And is that within the county of Wayne?
yes.
Okay. And can you start by telling the court what you were doing at the nightclub?
I was celebrating a birthday party,
Okay.
cousin's birthday party.
You said your cousin?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What's your cousin's name?
Dear Matthews,
Okay. And how many people were you with in attendance at this nightclub?
I was with 4 people. I was with a couple and then my cousins.
Okay. What's their names?
Decorian Mahone, Maya, I don't know her last name, that was his girlfriend that he brought. And then Dear Matthews and Sarita Matthews.
Okay. And how long, well, let me go back. Do you know what time you arrived at the nightclub?
Well, kind of like 11 p.m.
11 p.m. Okay. And what happened when you arrived at this nightclub? That brings you into court today, I'm sorry.
Well, when I arrived at the nightclub, it was just a normal night. What brought me into this incident with, or was basically, I was speaking to my ex-boyfriend at the time.
And what's his name?
His name is Tariq Derrickson. Is his full name.
And you said this is your ex-boyfriend at the time?
Correct.
Okay. So you were speaking to him, and what happened when you were speaking to him?
There was another girl, Jessamine Harris, that was standing in between us
Okay.
while I
Now,
was speaking with him.
okay. Now let me go back a little bit. Do you know who Jessamine Harris is?
I do now, but at that point in time, I did not.
Have you seen her before?
No.
In a nightclub?
No.
Okay. And what happened when Miss Harris walks up?
So, me and my ex-boyfriend were arguing. Ms. Harris spoke to me, I kind of dismissed her, but she didn't like me and my ex-boyfriend began to argue.
And when you say argue, was this like a verbal
It
argument?
was a verbal argument,
Okay, so it was just between you and Mr. Derek?
Derrickson, yeah.
Okay, so what happens, next?
So, Jasmine asked me that I know who she was, I told her I didn't know who she was, and it was irrelevant. I kind of just waved her off, she got upset, and she swung on me, that's when Miss Cross ran from the back booth and tackled me.
Okay, so let's go back just a little bit. So after you and Ms. Harris had this verbal back and forth, you said she swung on you, right?
Yes,
Okay, do you remember how she swung on you?
I mean, she just like swung.
So she swung her arm?
Yeah, she was in front of me. Tariq was like on the side of me.
Okay, and so what did you do after Ms. Harris swung on
I swung back.
you? Okay, and what happens after you swung back?
As soon as I swung back, that's when Miss Cross ran up from behind. I could see her running up. She tackled me on the ground.
Okay, and the person you're referring to is Ms. Cross. Do you see that person in the courtroom?
Yes,
Can you point them out and tell me what they're
it's
wearing?
her. She's wearing a plaid lady,
Anything else?
in a black
Stipulate.
plaid shirt.
All right,
Record reflects the identification of Mr. Cross.
thank you. And so, after Ms. Cross tackled you, what happened?
They proceeded to punch me.
Who was that?
India Christian Cross and Justin Harrison.
Okay, so do you recall how long this physical altercation lasted?
Probably like 2 minutes, to be honest, because as soon as the fight broke out, the club, turned the lights on.
Okay, and what happens next?
Security escorted me out first, because I was by myself. They escorted me out the club. They told me to wait downstairs, so I'm standing at the door. As far as what happened inside, I'm not sure. At that point, I wasn't there any longer. I stood by the door. They brought my heels, because I was wearing heels that night. When she tackled me, my heels actually fell off my feet.
Okay,
So I had to wait for my belongings. They brought my belongings down. And then, I seen them leave. They
was
proceeded
that?
to leave. India Christian Cross and Jessamine Harris with other people. I'm not sure who else they were acquainted with.
okay, so what did you do next after you saw them leave?
I just stood there. I actually sat there and talked to the security guard that broke up the incident.
Okay, at any point did you call the police?
I did.
Okay, and what point did you call the police?
I was, after the altercation, so they told me to come down. I made a report in person.
Okay, so let's go back a little bit. So when you called the police, was this after the altercation when you were outside or were you still in the club?
It was after I was outside.
Okay, and do you recall how long it took for the police to come to the club?
No, I don't recall.
Did you
There
recall?
was police already outside though.
Okay, do you recall speaking to the police that day?
It was more so that morning, like they made an incident report and then I went in to go talk to someone.
Okay, so you actually walked in to give the.
Correct.
Okay, do you remember what precinct you went to?
I think it was probably the third, I'm not sure.
Okay, that's fine. And, at the time, did you know who Ms. Harris and Ms. Cross was? When you had the discussion? Okay, how did you come to find out who these two individuals were?
From my ex-boyfriend,
Okay, and when did you receive that information?
that same night.
Okay, so what did you do after your ex-boyfriend told you who they were?
I went to their social media pages to see if they said anything about the incident, which they did. And I screen recorded it.
Okay, and who is that?
India Christian Cross and Jessamine Harris.
Okay, and you said you screen recorded, what did you screen record?
Their Instagram story from that night.
Okay,
Involving the altercation.
okay, and how long after this incident did you screen record this?
This would have been the same night. So we left around, this whole incident occurred at 2:00 in the morning, 2 a.m. So by the time I got home, I didn't really like while I was driving or anything. It was probably like 2:30 a.m. And I went to their store, which they posted instantly
Okay.
after the fight.
Judge, maybe you can share this with me.
You may. No, I'm not looking. Like, I'm not looking right now because, oh, he stipulated. Okay, yes, okay, thank you.
Then at this time, people like to publish people exhibit 1, 2, 4.
Okay.
And at this time, the people play video, people exhibit 1 at 0.01 seconds.
Somebody else, and this bitch, look, this bitch bit her. Bit her like a dog. First of all, she got beat the fuck up.
Listen. Do it look like I've been in a fight? Is my teeth bleeding? Do I got any type of knots on my head? No.
That bitch got beat up, lip busted, eyes swollen, wig off. Quit fucking playing with us.
At this time, the people in the video at 0.21 seconds. So Ms. Wright, you had an opportunity to view the video that people displayed. And do you recognize the two individuals in that video?
Yes.
Who do you recognize those two individuals?
India Christian Cross and Justin Mears.
Okay, and for the record, how long after the incident in the club did you screenshot this video?
About 30 minutes after.
Judge, I have one more. Okay. One last thing, Ms. Wright, did you give permission for Ms. Cross to hit you?
No,
Did you give permission for Ms. Cross to tap?
no.
Judge, I have no further question.
Okay. You got there about after 11 o'clock, correct?
Around 11.
Ms. Cross, Ms. Harris was already at the club before you got there, correct?
Judge, object to speculation.
It's not speculation, I'm asking.
I'm not sure.
Overruled. The way the question asked, if she knows, if I walk into place and people are already there, that means they got there before. Overruled.
When you come into the club, you come in on the first floor,
Yes,
then you went upstairs to the second floor?
yes. Well, it's really 3 levels to the club, so you
Okay.
walk in, you go up 1 flight and up the second flight.
When you came in on the first floor, did you see my client on the first floor?
No,
Did you ever see her come inside the building?
no,
When you went upstairs, did you know Tyreek was gonna be there?
no,
And you didn't know Tyreek was giving a little swimsuit shoot upstairs?
no.
And when you see my client, she is wearing the swimsuit, correct?
I believe so from the video.
Okay, you don't remember?
I did not see the client, within the club until the altercation.
And you don't recall what she had on? You
Not
don't recall her
until
just
the
having
video.
a swim bikini top?
At the, in the video, yes.
Okay, but you don't, outside of watching the video, you don't remember?
Judge, object to that.
No.
She can object.
Okay, thank you, I'm sorry, Judge.
She's supposed to be on the edge of the seat waiting, but wait, that's what they told me in law school, you sit on the edge of your seat and you just pop on up. Make it see.
I apologize. All right. We were drinking that night?
Yes,
Okay, were you intoxicated?
no,
Now, when you came to the club, how long were you downstairs before you went to the second floor?
no, you just like, you pay, then go straight up.
Go
So
straight
30, correct,
30 seconds?
yes,
And your 3 or 4 friends were with you?
yes,
When you got upstairs, you seen Tyreek?
no.
How long was it before you seen Tyreek?
Probably about 15 minutes after I was standing at the bar and then I seen you appear.
Okay, you walked up to him?
Not at this current moment.
Did you walk during this period before you got escorted out of the bar? Did you walk up and hold a conversation with Tyreek?
Yes,
Now, that was your ex-boyfriend at that time, correct?
yes,
And you told the police before that, you didn't want to have nothing to do with him, correct?
yes,
But you slept with him after this incident was over with,
Judge,
correct?
objection to relevance.
It's motive. She got a motive. Some man is there, and I'll move on. So,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
You
am I-
move
No,
on.
no, ma'am, no, ma'am. Well, you can prove the question. Okay.
okay. So you didn't know Tyreek was there, correct?
Correct,
You told the police that before you even got there, you didn't want nothing to do with him, correct?
It was not before he was there. The PPO didn't come into play until after this incident.
Okay, so when you went there that particular night, was he your boyfriend or your ex-boyfriend?
He was my ex-boyfriend.
Okay, so he didn't beat you up or nothing, did he?
No,
All right, so he was your ex-boyfriend before you went to the club that night, right?
correct,
And you didn't want anything else to do with him, correct?
correct.
Why did you walk up and engage in a conversation with him?
Well, he was still living with me at that time.
He still what?
He was living with me at that time.
Okay.
So this incident actually happened 2 days after. So the weekend, he left, he went to his mom's.
Okay, wait a minute. On the night that this happened, was he or was he not living with you?
He was living with me,
Okay, but he was your ex-boyfriend,
correct,
and you didn't want nothing to do with it, correct?
correct,
So when you don't have nothing to do with him, you might be mad at the person or something of that nature, something, correct?
no, I had no ill will towards him,
You just didn't want to be bothered with it.
correct,
So when he comes up here, you approach him and hold a conversation with him, correct?
correct, yes, I did.
Now, did you talk to him after the fight?
He called me,
He called you, when did he call you?
after I filed for my PPO.
And how much after the fight was that?
That was Monday, so I filed on a weekend. It was approved on that Monday, he called that same day.
You filed, this incident occurred what, Friday night going to
That's a
Saturday morning?
Saturday, correct.
And when did you file, and where did you go to file a PPO?
I did it online,
You did it online?
correct,
Okay. And you did that what, Saturday or Sunday?
Saturday,
Saturday,
yes.
okay. Now, why did you file a PPO on a Saturday when he wasn't fighting and had nothing to do with it?
At that time, I didn't believe that he didn't have anything to do with it.
Okay.
And there was other altercations that we had stemming from our relationship that led me to believe that he did have something to do with it.
So you come upstairs, right? And you're arguing with him, correct?
Not initially, no.
No, what stopped the argument between you and he?
More so the words that were being said, like the feelings behind it. I was talking about him getting his stuff out my house. The other girl that he was with, Miss Harris, she was there interjecting, so it became more so like A, B, and C conversation, so that's where it became a heated.
Now, you know he was dating Miss Harris at that time, correct?
No,
He was with her at that time, correct?
he was with multiple women that night.
Okay. And so you began to argue with him, correct?
I speak to him.
But you just told the prosecutor a moment ago that it was argument. Now you don't change your story?
No, I'm saying I was speaking to him. It didn't become an argument until his other counterpart put it in the conversation.
Okay, but isn't it the same guy that you went to speak to, that you wanted to put out of your house, that you just told the judge you wanted nothing to do with, correct?
That was after the fact.
But I asked you when you first walked into the club, you had already made your mind. Y'all was in
I
the
didn't,
house.
I didn't have a PPO on him at the current time. I didn't have a reason to until after the fact.
Okay, but, so I'm wrong if I have this young lady read the transcript back, but you just told this honorable judge that before you went to the club, you didn't want anything to do with Tyreek.
That doesn't have anything to do with his belongings at my property.
I'm not asking about belongings. You told the judge before you even got to the club, you wanted nothing to do with Tyreek, correct?
Correct. I don't dispute that, but I didn't start with an argument, as I'm suggesting, which was true.
Now, he's out there trying to have a good time and you go in there telling him about getting his stuff out of your apartment, correct?
Yes, I did.
And then you're drinking and you start arguing with him, correct?
No,
You weren't drinking?
I was drinking, but I wasn't arguing with him.
Now, here's the point. How many drinks did you have?
I had 2 at that time.
Okay, and did you have any drinks before you got to the club?
No, I did not.
Okay, so you go in there and you start drinking, he never approaches you, does he?
No,
You take 2 drinks and then you go to approaching him, correct?
yes.
Now, Ms. Cross, did you see her? You don't remember seeing her upstairs and just sitting there? You don't even know her before this, correct?
Correct.
All right, so maybe you talked to the police the next day, correct?
Correct.
Did you have a chance to read your police report? The police were outside, the bouncers escorted you out, correct?
Correct.
And when they escorted you out, there are police outside, correct?
Yes.
You didn't talk to those police, did you?
No, I'm.
No, not that what I'm asking. When you were outside the club after this altercation, and you seen the police outside from the club, you did not walk up to them and tell them what happened, correct?
Correct.
All right. Now, you go home and you see this video that the judge just seen, correct?
Yes.
And that, the next day, you decide to go file a PPO and file a police report against these young ladies, correct?
Yes.
When you walk into the club, you pay your money, you went straight upstairs, correct?
Correct.
You had 2 drinks, correct?
Yes.
And then you said within 15 minutes, you seen Tyreek, correct?
Yes.
And you walked up to him and engaged in a conversation, correct?
No, this wasn't till the end of the night. So
Okay.
I arrived around 11.
Uh-huh.
When I first came in, I started drinking, and then I got one later in the night. I seen him before I spoke to him.
Okay, when you seen him at first, you didn't speak to him, did you?
Correct.
What made you speak to him now? He was with another lady? I see you shaking your head, yes, say, she has to take that. You
Not
seen him with another
necessarily.
lady, then you went up and started talking to him, because you didn't speak.
Well,
to
he
him
was with
first.
another lady the whole night though.
Okay, but when
Multiple,
you
as I
first,
stated before.
you didn't go up and talk to him until you seen him with another lady, correct?
No, not necessarily. He was with women all night. is what I'm saying.
Whatever woman it was, you didn't speak to him.
Initially, when I first saw him, he was already with
Here's the
another
thing,
woman.
I need to know what question is being asked and then the answer. So I need you gotta wait for him to ask the questions, don't, interrupt him. What's the question?
You never spoke to Tyreek until after you seen him having a conversation with another woman, is that correct?
No,
So you spoke to him before you seen him talk to any woman?
he was with a woman the whole night.
I'm ready to say that. Now. You told the court that you learned of my client's identity from Tyreek, is that correct?
Yes,
When did you learn of her identity?
from Instagram. I went through his Instagram
You
page.
went through his Instagram.
Correct.
You posted on Instagram also, did you?
After an interview.
And did you post sex tapes about Tyreek and the young lady outside?
No,
You didn't make a comment? Now you're under oath.
yeah, no,
Did
I
you make
didn't post
a,
any sex tape.
did you talk about a sex tape on post between Ms. Harris and Tyreek?
I believe she posted, and I reposted her post,
You reposted Ms.
Harrison's post.
So what does that mean? Can somebody help me? I'm sorry. The
You were
question
in Ms.
is, did
Harrison's
you post the post? And she's saying I reposted the post.
So did you write any words about a sex tape on your page?
No,
Did you post something about a sex tape?
I
on your page?
reposted, yes. A
For what
screenshot.
purpose? For what purpose?
Well, at that current time, Ms. Harris said that she beat me up in court, and then she filed a police PPO against me, and told me that it was actually only Miss India Christian Cross, and it wasn't her. So at that current time, she proceeded to stalk me, so we would go back and forth on Instagram and social media.
Okay. So I can try to make this quick. How much time elapsed between the time you entered the club and that you spoke with Tyreek?
Like 2.5 hours. Yeah, the club closed at 2. I got there around 11.
When you were talking with Tyreek, where were your 3 or 4 associates?
They were talking to other people.
Did any of them come to your aid?
No,
Were you close with them?
yes,
how far away from, how much distance was between you and your friends?
It was a lot. They were on the other side of the club. I was closer towards the steps.
Okay, so you were by yourself,
Yes,
and your 3 or 4 friends were totally on the other side of the club.
yes.
So what brought you to that side of the club?
I want to go talk to my ex-boyfriend.
So you knew he had been over there talking to other women, correct?
Yes,
And you went over there to talk to him about whatever you wanted to talk to him about.
yes,
Were you angry when you got there?
no,
So now you run into Miss Harris, correct?
Correct.
You and her have words?
yes.
She doesn't hit you, does she?
She did hit me.
Did you hit her?
I swung back. I'm not sure if I
How many
did.
times did you hit her?
I'm not sure.
That's your recollection. 10, 15, how many times you swung
Probably swung twice.
on? Just
Because,
like,
yes, because it was like, as soon as she swung, I swung back and she ran up.
okay. Now,
Miss
Miss Cross had nothing to do with you, never met you, no conversation with you until after the swinging between you and Miss Harris occurred, correct?
Yes,
Judge, thank you.
Let me redirect. Briefly, Judge, Ms. Wright, you testified that you didn't know Ms. Cross before this incident, correct?
correct,
And you have never seen Ms. Cross before this incident.
correct,
And the only, way you came to know about Ms. Cross was through your ex-boyfriend,
correct.
correct?
One question.
Yes.
On direct, you originally had said you didn't talk to Tyreek till the next day. Is that correct? Oh, am I wrong?
I'm sorry?
On direct, when you was being questioned by Ms. Ritter at the first time, when she asked you about, you said the only time you didn't talk to Tyreek until the next day. Is that correct?
Until Monday.
Until Monday.
It was after I filed, as soon as I filed, Oakland County took them PPO notice and he called instantly after that.
So from the time that you was in the bar
Mhm.
to that Monday, you had not spoken to Tyreek, correct?
Correct,
So how did you get on Ms. Harris's Twitter page?
I'm sorry?
Or whose Twitter page or Instagram page that you,
Instagram,
who's?
from his followers,
From whose followers?
my ex-boyfriend's followers,
So you went looking at
his Instagram, correct.
and started looking for his followers.
Look through his followers,
And when you went look through his followers, were you seeing Ms. Harris?
yes.
Nothing further.
All right, thank you.
Anything further on behalf of you?
No, you're not.
Anything on behalf of?
Yes, Your Honor. For Ms. Cross.
Ma'am, state your name.
India Frost.
And Ms. Cross, your lawyer has indicated that I call Ms. Cross, that means that you intend to testify, is that correct? Do you know that you have a right to remain silent?
Yes.
You understand that if you take a stand and testify, I'm going to use your testimony in my decision in this case, whether it's in your favor or not.
Yes.
Has anyone threatened you in any way or promised you anything to get you to testify today? Mr. Upshaw is your attorney, correct?
Yes.
And you consulted with him and talked with him about your decision to testify. Do you understand that notwithstanding whatever his advice and counsel has been, that the decision to testify is completely yours? Do you understand?
Mhm.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay, and having had discussion with your lawyer, is it your decision to testify?
Yes.
All right, ma'am, you may step around.
You're gonna come
Yeah,
back
yeah,
this way.
yeah. No, she can come this way. Come on, you, Well, now you always over there, now go over here. But all this plexiglass, we don't want it. All right, raise your right hand for me before you take your seat. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
All right, you may be seated. And I'm sorry, Mr. Ritter, because I think I didn't, you said you didn't have any further witnesses. Did you say that people rest?
I didn't.
Okay, yeah.
And
I forgot, that was in some appeal one time. People said they didn't actually take a rest. That's why I always ask. You may proceed, Ms. Ocho.
Okay, and since the witness is staying in the courtroom, she will not be called as a rebuttal.
She may or may not, but the victim's rights statute says that notwithstanding whether she'll be with. Okay.
I understand,
Notwithstanding, she has a right to, as the victim, once she testifies the first time,
and still come back.
she can still come back.
All right,
That's
thank you,
what the
Judge.
victim's rights statute says.
Say your name for the record again, please.
India Gross.
Okay. The young lady testified, Ms. Wright, had you ever seen her before this particular night?
No,
Did you have any beef with her, arguments with her, or before this incident?
And then I do want you to remember, Mr. Upshaw, this is your witness.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. But I don't want Ms. Ritter jumping up from the whole thing. But this is your witness, not cross. Okay.
Did you know Ms. Wright before this incident?
no,
Did you ever met her before this incident?
no,
You were at this particular club?
yes.
Who invited you to this club?
I was invited by the DJ Q, he was the DJ at the time.
And what was your purpose and what were you doing there?
So our photo shoot got canceled, so we pretty much was just there to have fun.
What type of photo shoot did you have?
It was a swimsuit photo shoot.
And I'm assuming you had a swimsuit on.
Yes, I did.
Did you come there to fight?
No,
You know Ms. Harris?
no.
Do you know Ms.
Oh,
Harris?
yes,
Did you see Ms. Wright at the club that night?
I seen her when she approached.
Okay. Now, how did she approach?
She was drunk, stumbling. And when she approached, she was slurring her words. She said something to Tariq first, and then she proceeded to say something to Jazz. And what she said was,
Objection, hearsay.
To the victim?
Yeah.
Okay, okay, so the victim said something to Ms. Harris, is that correct?
yes,
Okay, and, was it, without telling me what she said, was it nice? Was her body language nice, mean, evil, antagonistic, hostile? How was her
so she
body
was
language?
drunk and she was very aggressive.
Objection was speculation as to her.
That's an opinion, and it carries the weight, not to the admissibility. We all know when somebody's drunk. It's your opinion, it goes to the weight.
Well, we know when we think somebody's
We
wrong,
think
but they could be another reason for their behavior, like a diabetic situation, or, see, old people talk about diabetes, young people don't talk about diabetes. But the objection, it's the same, but he is correct, it kind of goes to the weight and not a disability, and it's a bench trial for you.
Okay, so you stated that Ms. Harris was not asking what was said. Ms. Harris was talking with Tyreek?
Miss Harris was talking with Tyreek.
Yeah,
No, we were dancing at the time that she approached.
when you say we, who was we with that?
Me, Jasmine Harris, and Tyreek were dancing, going to me and hustle when she approached us.
Okay. What happened next? What did you say?
So, when she approached and I said she was drunk and stumbling, she said something to him. And then she turned towards my cousin Jasmine and she hit her chest twice and said, "This nigga about to go to jail."
Hit whose chest? Who hit whose chest?
Jakari Wright
Okay,
hit Jasmine Harris's chest and said, "This nigga about to go to jail."
okay. Then what happened?
Then I intervened because I was standing right there and I said, "I'm confused. I don't know what's going on." So I intervened. I said, "What's going on?" And then that's when she just proceeded to attack.
Okay, and did you defend yourself?
Yes, I did.
Did she get escorted out of the club?
Yes, she did.
Did you get escorted or put out the club?
No, I did not.
Nothing further.
Yes, Judge. Good afternoon, Ms. Cross.
Good afternoon.
So, Ms. Cross, I'm just gonna ask you a couple follow-up questions. If you don't understand my question, you need to rephrase it, just let me know, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so you told Mr. Upshaw that Ms. Wright approached you first?
Approached us.
Okay,
So we were all together, standing together doing it to us.
okay, where were you all when you were doing this?
Right in front of, our booth, which we had security in front of everything. So
So-
we was at the whole night.
So security was in front of the booth,
No, security, was in front of our booth.
was in front of the booth, okay.
Yes,
And what floor was this?
the second floor.
The second floor. So how many other people were in the, booth?
It was quite a couple people. The owner had pretty much, it was, I don't even know how to explain it, but it was booths inside the booths. So you had this section and it was another group of people, so it was other people inside that section that we didn't know of.
Okay, so let me rephrase my question. How many people were with you?
Me, my cousin Jasmine, and it's another, young lady that I met that same night that was doing a photo shoot too, the social photo shoot.
Okay, and how many, security guards were in front of your booth?
One,
So one security guard?
yes,
Okay, and you testified to Mr. Upshaw that Ms. Wright walked up stumbling, slurring her words, such, correct?
yes, she
Okay, where did she walk up to first?
did. She walked up to us,
So where were you?
we was in front of the booth.
Okay,
So it's like an area like where you can like dance and stuff, but
okay,
it's literally right off of the booth.
okay, and she walks up to you and you testified to Mr. Upshaw that she hit Ms. Harris in the chest twice?
Twice.
Okay, why didn't security intervene at this point if security was present?
Because it was, in the club, there's so much going on, that's out there, it's everywhere to look. And it's aggressive, but it's not a brawl. So they didn't intervene, obviously, I don't know, there's only one security guard there. But it was starting to be commotion,
Okay, so let me get this straight.
Starting to become
commotion.
Okay, so I just wanna get this straight. Security's present. You testified that Ms. Wright hits Ms. Harris and
And
security
it's
does
twice.
nothing. She hits her twice and security does nothing at that point.
Okay, so if I can show you, so like, this is the booth, this is where they're standing, and this is where we are. So it's possible that one security guard is people all around did not see, like I said, it's a face-to-face, like, and it's music, there's a lot going on, the security could have not seen.
So how
Until
long,
the fight started, then you can see a fight.
okay, so when the fight started, you didn't testify to Mr. Upshaw that security intervened, correct?
No, security did not intervene until the fight started.
Okay, so how long did the fight last before security?
It didn't last that long,
Okay,
it was a quick fight.
it was a quick fight. So, Ms. Wright hits Ms. Harris first.
Yes,
Where are
she
you
did.
standing when
I'm standing right there.
Okay, and what do you do at this point?
I didn't,
Hold on,
That's when
gotta let her finish.
I'm
You
sorry.
talk, you right at the end, every time you kind of start your answer.
Okay,
Ms. Ritter, what's your question?
Where were you when, Ms. Harris and Ms. Wright are fighting?
I was standing right there the whole time.
Okay, and what did you do then?
I intervened, I said, what's going on, because this is a random, woman walking, stumbling up, I don't know if they're friends, I don't know what their deal is, what their situation is, so I immediately like, what's going on, and I see it's aggressive because I see how she hit her in the chest, and it wasn't a friendly hit. So I immediately intervened, trying to diffuse the situation and say, what's going on?
So you're asking what's going on after Ms. Wright hits Ms. Harris in the chest twice?
Yes. Cause as she hit her, she said, this nigga about to go to jail. That's what she said.
And
So
you
that's
just
when I
said-
intervened, I'm like, what's going on? And then she just started wailing.
And she started to hit you?
Yes.
Okay, at what point in your testimony did you tell Mr. Upshaw that she started to hit you after you intervened?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that question?
Did you testify to Mr. Upshaw that you started to hit her after she hit you?
I'm not understanding.
All
what
right,
you
let me
asked.
rephrase the question.
Yeah.
When Mr. Upshaw asked you questions,
Mhm.
did you say, as you're telling me now,
Mhm.
that you started to hit her?
No, I didn't hit her first. She started attacking me, and I defended myself and I fought back.
Okay, so how long does that last?
the fight didn't last that, whatever you wanna call that, it didn't last that long between, security breaking it up. Cause the security was right there, and
Okay,
they seen the fight occurring, they seen it like started.
so did Miss Wright and Miss Harris have a fight?
No, she just punched her in the chest once.
And Miss Harris didn't do anything?
No, that's when I intervened, when she punched her in the chest, I intervened saying, what's going on, and that's when she just started swinging.
Okay. Well, let me get this straight. At what point did security intervene?
The fight didn't last that long,
So at what point did
When-
security intervene?
after the fight started.
After the fight started, security.
After she started hitting me, I started swinging back. We fought a couple, not even a couple seconds before, the fight was over.
Okay, what did you do after that?
I went back to the booth.
Okay, so after you're testifying, Miss Wright walks up, she hits Miss Harris, you intervene, you guys start fighting, and you go back to the book.
Yes,
You never made a police report?
no,
You never contacted police?
no,
You didn't tell security guard like, hey, this happened, you know?
no, because
she
I
came
didn't,
over
I didn't look at it as, I mean, to me, it was just a fight in the club. Like, I can't believe this girl just did this, like, it wasn't as deep to me where I had vengeance to have to go make a police report, go find her page and do all this, and I didn't know her. So to me, it was just a random girl walks up and fight in the club, like,
So, and I'm glad you said that, so you're saying you didn't know her?
I never knew her.
You never met her?
Knew of her, never knew her name. I did not know her until after I was informed what was going on after the altercation.
So this random girl comes up, you've never seen her before, she starts an altercation with you and Miss Harris, and you never contacted the police?
No,
Who was Mr. Garrison? You know?
nobody.
Okay. Do you know if Miss Harris dates Mr. Garrison?
Currently, are you asking currently?
At the time, I'm sorry.
Yes, they were dating for a minute, actually.
Okay, did you know that Miss Wright and Mr. Garrison were living together?
I didn't know of her at all.
Okay. What's your relationship to Miss Harris?
That's my cousin.
That's your cousin?
Yes.
Okay. And you have a close relationship with Miss Harris, I'm assuming?
Mhm.
Is that a yes or no?
Oh, yes,
Yes?
yes.
Okay. No further questions.
Any redirect, Ms. Oshel?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, ma'am, you may sit down. Anything further on behalf of the defense?
Maybe not, let me just ask.
Okay.
Your Honor, I apologize. We rest.
Okay, anything further, any rebuttal on behalf of the, people?
No, no.
Okay. Are you ready to close the argument?
The people are ready to do it.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor. So, Your Honor, as the people stated in their opening statements, that this incident happened on September 19, 2021 at Society nightclub in the city of Detroit. The complainant witness took the stand and Ms. Wright testified as to what happened on that day where she attended this nightclub with some people for a birthday celebration. She testified that she was in the nightclub for about 2.5 hours before she came in contact with her ex-boyfriend, Mr. Tariq Garrison. Your Honor, the complainant witness testified that her and Mr. Garrison had verbal altercation in the club. And she testified that this individual named Ms. Jessamine Harris approached her and Mr. Garrison. After that, she testified that Ms. Harris hit her, she hit Ms. Harris in the back. After her and Ms. Harrison got into a fight, she testified that Ms. India Cross jumped in, tackled her, and both Ms. Cross and Ms. Harris started to fight her. Your Honor, the complainant witness testified that after the fight was broken up, she was taken downstairs. She testified that she made a police report after the fact, maybe the next morning at the club, was letting out around 2 something in the morning. She went home, she then identified these two individuals, who she didn't know before. She testified she didn't know these individuals before this incident. She found them on social media through Mr. Garrison's page, and she then went and filed a police report. Now, Judge, the timeline in this is interesting because what Ms. Wright testified to was what happened on that day. She testified as to who these individuals were, and she testified as to what she did after the fact. Now, Judge, I'm asking the court to I asked the court in open statement that it was important for the court to pay attention to Ms. Wright's testimony. And it's important because Ms. Wright testified truthfully as to what happened on that day. And when Mr. Upshaw asked his questions, Ms. Wright's questions never changed as to the same questions I asked her. She kept her story the same when she was cross-examined by Mr. Upshaw. And she testified honestly as to what happened, what transpired, and she even gave a little bit of backstory regarding her ex-boyfriend, Judge. And I know we're not here for that, and it is important because it does go to the motive as to why she came on this stand and testified the way she did, Judge. She had absolutely no reason to lie to this court as she testified. She doesn't even know Ms. Cross, she doesn't even know Ms. Harris, and that even if there was a verbal altercation between her and her ex-boyfriend, that's what it was between her and her ex-boyfriend. It had nothing to do with Ms. Harris, it had nothing to do with Ms. Cross. Now, Judge, I'm asking the court, as I know this honorable court does, is to pay attention to the detail and the way the testimony was given because it was truthful and it was, in fact, what actually happened on that night at Society Nightclub, Judge. So I'm asking the court to take that into consideration. Another thing, Judge, is that there was a video, Exhibit 1 by the people, and it shows the other individual, Ms. Harris and Ms. Cross, after the fact, talking about what happened in this club. And I want the court to know that that video is important to the fact that it goes circumstantial to what happened. It goes to what the defendant actually testified to, as to she didn't make a police report, and she didn't go to the police, and she didn't report this incident, but she's on social media bragging about what happened inside this club, Judge. And I'm asking the court to take that into consideration because it lines up exactly what Ms. Wright testified to as to what happened. So I'm asking the court to take the testimony and take the exhibit, People's Exhibit 1, and return the verdict for guilty count 1, assault and battery. On behalf of the defense.
Thank you, Judge. Just because Ms. Ritter talked about the video, I'm gonna start off with it. When you look at the video, I think if you look at the words that she showed, the key word to me is this: that girl better stop playing with us like that. That's not you coming after someone. That's someone coming after you. Because when they made that stupid video, it wasn't like they were ever anticipating that video coming to court or anything. So when you look at the trustworthiness of it, they saying she need to stop playing and stop playing with us, or she coming at me or something of that nature. That's not we going after her. That's what I thought was key in the video. The second part, the prosecutor talked about her not changing her statements. I believe she did. And I know that the court takes great notes because at one point she was saying that she had no idea that Tyreek was given they were giving a little swimsuit show. And she got there sometime after 11 o'clock. And then she wanted to say something about she was there for 2.5 hours when I started questioning her. But everybody knew she was put out before the club closed. When the club closed, we could take whatever notice and we wouldn't come up, but clubs usually close at 2 o'clock. Police were there. So it's impossible, even though that's just a time frame, about her being there for 2.5 hours before. And I think she said 2.5 hours before she talked to him. And at one point in time, she said when she came upstairs, Tyreek was there. So I thought it was something like, at one point she was saying 15 minutes that she saw him, but she didn't talk to him for maybe 2.5 hours. Now, she wants to say that she came with her close friends, her 2 cousins, and Mr. and Mrs. Matthews, Mr. Holmes, and his girlfriend. And they're on the other side of the club. So you said Tyreek is over here with women from the time you seen him. What sense does it make that the man didn't approach you? He didn't say anything to you. You now claim you've seen him talking to women for 2 hours. And you leave your family and friends and birthday people, and they totally out of sight. And you come up here to confront him about getting his stuff out of your house. Now, you waited 2 hours. You can imagine jealousy, temperaments, or whatever. She never said when she walked in there and she seen him that he approached her, that anyone talked to her, that anyone approached him. I think it's strange for her to say that my family and friends and who I'm with are all over there. I'm coming way where they can't even see me to the other side of the club to talk to this man at 2 o'clock in the morning or 12 o'clock in the morning about, hey, you best to come and get your stuff out of my house. That's hostility. She had no beef with Miss Harris, but she comes up there now, as Ms. Cross said, they're on the floor trying to do their little hustle dance. While they're doing the hustle dance, why do you walk up and start talking to somebody in the middle of a hustle dance about come and get your crap out? Now she wants to spread, I think she wants to spread her drinking out because she admits to having at least 2 drinks. And she comes over there after drinking while they're on the floor dancing. I think her credibility is bad, Judge, because don't nobody, if I'm in the other part, what she said before she got that, I didn't want anything to do with him. If you don't want anything to do with him and you see him entertaining another woman or 2, why do you come on the dance floor and tell him, get your crap out my house? You ain't want nothing to do with him. And then you go, soon as the police are outside. She sees the police, and because she started the fight, she didn't walk up and talk to the police. She goes through his Instagram page or post page, whatever she went through, started scrolling through, looking for his acquaintances, his girlfriends, trying to find out who they are. And I thought she said from the beginning, I said, how did you find out who my clients are? And she said, he told her. She said, Tyreek told me. So now I'm about to get the phone. I got to get Mr. Tyreek up here. Did you tell her that? No. When I went home, because I didn't do it when I was driving. When I got home, I started going through his pages to find out who they are. That's either a great contradiction, either it's an untruth. It shows a definite lack of credibility. Judge. And it's all, and now she remembers these details, but now my client is only in a bikini, a bathing suit for a contest there. And she can't remember what she had on. That sounds like a drunk person that started with something, at least a drunk person. You can't remember a bikini. I can see it. She had on jeans and jackets, but you got a bikini, you know she had a bikini on. And the only reason she said she knew she had a bikini because she had to come back and watch this video. The only thing I'm saying before I sit down now is that sometimes circumstantial evidence shows to support my client's statement. My client admit this was her cousin. She sees her cousin. She intervenes. Security comes. They don't put her out. They don't put the other lady out. They put Miss Wright out. She's the only person that was escorted out of the doggone thing because she started the fight. Judge, and it just so happens to be a club where your ex-boyfriend at, and you show up and it's his advertisement about a swimsuit, and you don't know he's there. Thank you, Judge.
Yes, Judge. So, Your Honor, I'm actually glad Mr. Ushaw brings up this issue with credibility. I want the court to dive into the testimony from Ms. Cross. Now, Ms. Cross got on the stand, Your Honor, and Ms. Cross said that she was there with Ms. Harris and Mr. Derrickson, and they were in the booth, and maybe another individual. But the interesting part about her testimony is that she testified Ms. Wright walks up and she testified that she's drunk. We don't know if that's true or not, but she testified that Ms. Wright's drunk, and she testified that Ms. Wright hits Ms. Harris twice in the chest. Now, what's interesting, Judge, to the people is that now once in Ms. Cross's testimony, did she say she tried to get the attention of the security guard, where she testified the security guard wasn't too far from where they were in the booth. She never testified that she tried to get the security guard to come break up the fight. She never testified that she tried to stop this fight. She testified that she comes over and she intervenes and asks what's going on after Miss Wright punches Miss Harris in the chest twice. She then testifies that after that, Miss Wright tries to fight her, and then she fights her back. Judge, the timeline doesn't match up with what Ms. Cross testified as to, and lasted a couple seconds. Well, it doesn't take, well, it takes more than a couple seconds for somebody to come up, punch somebody twice in the chest, say whatever they're saying, have her intervene, say what she's, or Ms. Cross intervene, say what she's saying, and then this fight breaks out. It doesn't add up, Judge, and I want the court to pay attention to it because it doesn't seem credible. Their testimony does not seem credible. And again, all of this is occurring while security is right outside of the booth, not too far, and everything is transpiring. Another interesting fact is that, another interesting piece of the testimony, Judge, is that Ms. Cross testified and said that she never contacted the police, she never made a police report. She even, I think her exact words was she didn't think it was that big of a deal because she didn't know it. Judge, I know this court is very reasonable, and I know this court follows the jury instruction. And the jury instruction says that use your common sense and everyday knowledge to assess these cases, Judge. If the court is using their common sense from a reasonable person's standpoint, if you don't know someone and they walk up to you and hit your cousin, and she testified this is her cousin, she has a good relationship with her cousin, and she doesn't know Miss Wright walks up and hits her, and she intervenes and says what's going on, and she doesn't get security who's standing not even a couple feet away from the booth, it does not make sense, Judge, because it's not the truth. Again, I want the court to take into consideration the testimony from the defendant and compare that to Ms. Wright's testimony. Ms. Wright testified as to what happened. I don't know what the situation is with Mr. Derrickson and Ms. Wright, but that's not why we're here, Judge. What she testified to is that during this nightclub, she saw Mr. Derrickson. They had words. Ms. Harris walks up, who was not, I think Ms. Crawford even testified that she now dated Mr. Derrickson, or who she was at the time, I'm sorry. She walks up, she has her words.
Excuse me, I don't want the record to be wrong. Ms. Harris's statement was dated. I thought you said Ms. Cross was dated.
No, she said Ms. Harris.
Okay.
Ms. Harris walks up, she says whatever she says to Ms. Wright. Ms. Harris hits Ms. Wright first, Ms. Wright hits back, and that's when Ms. Cross jumps in to fight with her cousin and tackle Ms. Wright. Judge, I want the court to take all that into consideration, and I'm hoping the court returns the verdict for guilty of count 1 assault.
Has had an opportunity to consider the charges against Ms. Cross, the testimony of witnesses, and arguments of counsel that exhibit of people, or is ready to issue its findings of fact and verdict. People have a burden to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that on or about September the 21st, strike that, September 19, 2021, at or near the location of 1995 Woodbridge in the city of Detroit within the county of Wayne, that this is defendant number 2, India Christian Cross, committed 1 count of assault and battery as to Jakaria Wright. So in order to meet this burden, people submitted 1 witness and 1 exhibit. And then Ms. Cross gave up her right to testify, and she testified on her own behalf. So, and basically in a nutshell, of course, what happened was these people went to the club, and it was a young man that some people were dating, and he probably wanted to work down. But, you know, still got time to be work a dime. And so he at the club, he living with Miss Wright, and they broke up. And he still got his stuff there or something. He's still living there, and then he at the club, and he, dating Miss Harris and this, that, and the third. So they at the club having a good time or not, they just, they're at the club. And then this fight breaks out. This situation breaks out. And it's difficult. It's difficult for the court, a jury, any fact finder to have to judge the credibility of individuals when it basically is just one person's credibility versus another person's credibility. However, the court, of course, has in the past and will in the future, if the proofs bear out, the court believes that it's possible for people to meet their burden with just one witness. It's not impossible. And so when the people only submit one witness to the court does have to pay close attention to that witness, the witness's testimony, and all the things that jury instruction says are ways to judge the credibility of the witness. And one of the things, several of the things, well, of course, the court rules indicates, not the court rule, I'm sorry, the jury instruction indicates that as finders of fact, the jury is free to believe all, none, or a part of any person's testimony. The jury is free to decide that if the person has lied about something, then they have to decide if that lie is something important to the case or not. And if it's not, they can just throw it aside and they can believe the rest of what the person says. But if they believe that the person has lied about something critical to the decision, then they don't have to believe what the person says, or they don't have to believe all of what the person says. And so the testimony has been interesting. And then one of the things that the jury instruction also tells the jury that when they're looking at judging the credibility of the witness, they should rely on their own, common sense and everyday experience. And then it says there's no what's that? There's no, fixed set of rules of judging whether you believe a witness, but some of the things that it says is, does the witness have a good memory? How does the witness act when they testify? Did the witness seem to be making an honest effort to tell the truth, or did the witness seem to evade the questions or argue with the lawyers? Does the witness have any special reason to tell the truth or any special reason to lie? And then when you have two witnesses and one of them is complainant, one of them is defendant, they both have, I guess, a reason to lie. If you look at it that way, they both would have a reason to lie if they chose to. So I had, paid close attention to the testimony, and I do. Disagree with the people indicating that Ms. Wright's testimony stayed consistent throughout the whole thing. So that it did not stay consistent, but the court then had to determine whether those inconsistencies would cause it not to believe her testimony. So she said, and I wrote it down, she arrived around, first she said she arrived around 11:30. And then Mr. Upshaw on his cross, he said, so you got there around 11, and then she said, yeah, around 11, but one could say that 11 and 11:30 are pretty similar. She said she was speaking with her boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, and then a person got upset and swung on her, and then she swung back. And then she said Miss Cross ran up and tackled her. They started punching her, and then security escorted her out first. This is one of the things that I paid attention to. She said security escorted her out first because she was alone. And then that confused me, because she had told me she came to the club with 3 people. So she said the security put her out first because she was alone, and I suppose they were concerned about her safety. But then she was there to see when the other 2 ladies left. She said then the other 2 ladies left. So if the security was concerned for her safety and they escorted her out first, I don't know if they escorted her out and just put her on a curb. They escorted her out and took her to her car and said, go home. She said they brought her shoes and her belongings, but she was still there when the other ladies left. And then I don't know whatever happened to the other 3 people that was in the club with her. So if I go to the club, I'm with 3 other people, they don't never check on me, they don't say, this is where you at, are you okay? So I don't know what happened or why she was escorted out. So she was escorted out, and then there was some police officers outside the club, and she had just got attacked in the club. Literally, she said they beat her up, they was punching her and stuff. She just got attacked in the club. The security escorts her out, and no security said, officers, we need you over here, because she just got beat up inside our club where we could potentially be liable because this person got beat up in our club. So she didn't get the attention of the police. The security didn't get the attention of the police. Nobody got the attention of the police and said, hey, this young lady just been assaulted inside the club. So after you get beat up, you get beat up in this club by these 2 ladies, unprovoked. You don't immediately go also to the police department. You literally go home and start checking to find them on social media. So you go home, you start looking at your ex-boyfriend who still live with you, social media pages, to find these young ladies. And then you find them to see not who they were. So sometimes it's to everybody's chagrin the way I pay attention to the testimony. She didn't say, I checked his social media to find out who they were, and then I went to their social media page to confirm that's who they were, so I could tell the police that that's who they were. She said I went to their social media page so I could see if they posted anything about this situation, this fight. And then what I also don't understand is, well, I didn't know that the PPO process had changed where you could just fill out this PPO online. And I don't know if there's an immediate decision made with respect to some information that's taken online without a person swearing to it. I don't know. But she filled out this PPO, and Mr. Upshaw asked, did Jakar, no, that's not, I don't remember his name. Did the young Tyree, did he beat you up? Did he assault you? Did he? And she said, no, he didn't do those things. But after the club incident, she filed this PPO because she said she felt like he had something to do with it. And I hope no judge or magistrate or no one around here is giving PPOs on that basis. Then I wrote a question down with respect to the testimony where I agree with Mr. Upshaw, because before he even asked the question, I thought, this is a question I wrote. I thought he was the one to tell you who the ladies were. That's what I wrote on my paper. So when Ms. Ritter asked her, she said that he is the one that told her who the ladies were. But then later on, she said, no, I stalked his Instagram page and found the ladies. And then later on in my notes, I wrote, when did you speak to Tyreek? Because she had said a couple of days later, and then in response to the question that was posed at the time, she said, no, I went through his Instagram page. I don't know if Ms. Cross told the whole truth. I don't know. I don't know if the young lady hit her cousin, I think she said, in the chest twice without her cousin hitting her back. I don't know her cousin. So I don't know if the young lady hit her cousin in twice, without hitting her back, and then, you know, just start swinging on Miss Cross. I don't know if that's what happened, but I don't have to know if that's what happened. The court has to look at the totality of the evidence and decide that the people have met their burden beyond a reasonable doubt, that I know what happened, as it relates to the evidence that the people presented. Now, the video that was shown to me, I think it is silly. I think I think it's stupid. I guess, I don't know if Mr. Upshaw had used that same word, that it was a stupid video, but I think it's silly and stupid for people to do that. And I hate young ladies fighting. I'm looking at the young ladies, and I mean, I just want more for all people in general, but definitely what appears to be some reasonably bright young women who are clearly fighting because of some man who was not literally worth it. But from the people's proofs, I don't know what happened. From the people's proof, I'm confused as to how long she was in the club before she started talking to Tyreek. I'm confused. I believe that she did walk up to him and interrupt something, and then there was like this three-way sort of argument, and then it sounds like from her, she told the girl, stay out my business, because I remember when I was young and we used to be arguing with somebody and then another person intervened, we would say, this is an A and B conversation, see your way out. And she said, you know, it was like an A, B, and C conversation. And so that's what happened. I'm arguing with him, you mind your own business. And then I don't know if she tapped him on the chest, tapped the girl on the chest, like the defendant said, but she had words with the other young lady. And I don't know that I can believe that they started beating her up and then security just set her out on the street. Her testimony was not consistent. And there were fabrications in her testimony that causes the court to question the rest of her testimony. Ms. Cross, you can stand, please. Based upon the court's findings of fact, I am going to find that people have not met their burden of proof beyond a reasonable doubt, and I am going to find Ms. Cross not guilty of one count of assault or assault and battery. Mr. Upshaw, you can submit an order and the court will sign.
Thank you very much.
Welcome. Ms. Stevenson, they might have used them all and then didn't